Well, welcome to the Milestone Fitness Podcast. I am Coach Tyler, and today we are doing the mid-season check-in. We're going to talk about adjusting your training based on fatigue and race results. So, this is a podcast where we keep them short and to the point, focusing on the things you can do off the bike to race faster and safer on the bike. I, Coach Tyler, work with athletes remotely from all around, all different levels, all different abilities. Our number one goal is to take that time we have training off the bike and make the best use of it because a lot of us don't have a ton of time to ride or train off the bike. So we want to be as efficient as possible and work the muscles and systems that are important for race day. So with that, I like to keep these short and to the point, aiming for around 10 minutes. So here we go. So this week, like I said, we're talking about adjusting training based on fatigue and race results. So right now, it's the end of June 2025. Basically, we're coming up on midway through the season, and it's a good point to go ahead and take a step back and take a look at your race results, how you've been feeling, how things are going. So it doesn't matter whether your results have been great, disappointing. Now's the time to adjust training, mindset, and recovery to ensure you finish strong because many of us are in this for the full season and we're partway there. And if things aren't going great, we can change them. If things are going great, well, there's things we can do to ensure that they keep going great. So, with this midseason check-in, first, let's just go through a couple points here. Check your fatigue levels. Are you feeling drained or still motivated? Signs that you might be feeling drained are you're kind of feeling like you're constantly tired, you have poor sleep, you're constantly sore, your mood is not great, your times on and off the bike are slower. So if you're not hitting those lap times you were earlier in the spring, or if you're training off the bike by running or cycling, if you're not able to hit the same efforts or paces, that's also a sign that you may be overtraining. Now, let's go to on the bike, talk about race results. Where have you found yourself compared to the beginning of the season? Do you find that you're improving? Do you find that you're plateauing? Or do you find that you're dropping? Are you feeling as you go through your motos and races? Are you losing energy later in laps? Are you struggling with starts, with technical sections? What would it be? Or is everything clicking? And then after thinking about those type of things, think about your training consistency. We'll talk about both on and off the bike here. Have you stuck to your plan or have you been inconsistent? So are you putting on that in that time off the bike? Are you making sure that you're getting in your strength, your mobility, your endurance? And then on the bike, are you getting in your ride days like you had planned or like you should be, or are you skipping them? And then also just with your consistency training, what are other factors that have come up? Are you finding that your uh, have travel has been more complex, the weather's been more of a challenge, or something else is just kind of throwing off your rhythm, burning you out? Sometimes when those things come up, it's important to adjust and not give up. And that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Maybe these things have been a problem earlier in the season, but now we're kind of looking at the second half, and let's think about those scenarios that have come up that aren't ideal. What can we change going forward to avoid them? Now, let's talk about how to adjust your training based on what you found. So, if you're feeling fatigued or overtrained, there's a couple things we can do. First, the simplest is just pull back on your volume for a week or two. This is both on and off the bike. Make sure that you're just giving yourself a little bit more of a break, a little bit more time to chill, and you're able to get a little bit more rest, a little bit more sleep. So, what sometimes I find happens to athletes when I suggest this is I'm like, okay, we got to take a week or two and just really dial things back. Like take training, almost cut it in half. And we want to spend that time, resting, sleeping. But what many of us get caught in the trap is, and I've been guilty of this in the past too, is, oh, we have more time. So we start filling it with all these other things. And we're not actually giving ourselves another break. We're just taking and adding other things on in place of that training. So if you need to pull back, really be cautious. Make sure you're actually giving yourself more of a break, more rest, more downtime, so your body can actually give it a chance to reset. Next, you can kind of focus a little bit more on mobility, so making sure we're still moving our body with purpose, doing mobility, flexibility work, making sure we can move our joints through proper ranges of motion, our muscles move properly as well. Focus more on sleep, like I said, and then take the cardiovascular work and just lighten the load much more. So take the intensity down, take the duration down. Same with strength. Take the intensity down, take the duration down. And then use those 2 weeks to kind of deload and bounce back stronger. So don't feel like it's a waste. Sometimes this cutting back a little bit can greatly help us reset and be in a much better place when we come back from those two lighter weeks. Now, if you are improving, it's important to keep doing what's working. I would not suggest making any big change. If you're seeing success with the way the program's working for you right now and life and everything else is clicking, don't mess with it. Just like our suspension clickers. Maybe you've been on this before. Suspension's working great and it's been great. And one day you're out riding and you're like, geez, maybe I could just soften up the front end a little and change the high speed on the rear a little, and it might act a little better. And the next thing you know, you're making all these changes to your bike. Nothing's working. Everything feels out of sync. So I would suggest just like don't touch your clickers when they're working. Uh, don't change up your training routine when it's working. Just keep everything going how it was. You can do small refinements, like you can do a little bit higher intensity intervals, a touch more on the strength, a little bit more on the mobility, but don't make any big changes. Little changes are okay, but for the most part, I would suggest if it's working, keep flowing with it. Don't make any changes. It's been successful. It'll probably continue to be successful throughout your race season. Now, next, what if the results just aren't there? You're doing all the work, but you're not seeing anything. Well, there might be something we need to focus on a little more off the bike to help get you to the spot you want to be. So if you're doing strength, your strength, your endurance, your mobility, and your recovery work, well, maybe one of those needs a little bit more attention. Maybe you need a little bit more time with recovery. Maybe we need to focus a little bit more on your cardiovascular conditioning. So take a look at that. If you're not getting the results, think like late in the race or on race day or riding days, what am I dealing with the most? Am I feeling a little bit too beat up? Am I feeling a little bit too tight on the bike? Am I feeling like I just don't have the muscle strength to work with the bike the way I should? So go ahead and just take a look at those and think, what is the one of these things that just isn't kind of linking up, or two of them that isn't making sense with why I'm riding when I'm riding, and go ahead and look at your off the bike training program and adjust it so you can make those changes. The body can adapt. We can have a stronger back end of our race season. So really just shift your focus to whatever that limiter is that you discover or you find. And then most importantly, when you're not seeing the results, don't panic, make smart adjustments and just complete the reset of whatever that needs to be done. Don't just go and do a 180 on everything and change everything all at once. Like I said, take that limiter or those two limiters, put a little bit more focus on those and build into it. No massive change. That's a great way to deal with injury or setback. So make a small, medium change, work into it. That'll help us if we've got those weak points, be able to get the results we want and condition the body the way we need. So finally, no matter where you are, it's always important to just think about recovery and mindset. It's normal to hit a wall mid-season. We've been kind of like almost like at a grind here now, we're racing on the weekend. Monday, we're back to training, we're working on the bike, ordering the parts, midweek, maybe getting a ride in, working on the bike more, getting more parts, packing up the rig, going to the race. And it can start to kind of feel like a grind. So make sure that time when you're on the bike and when you're training off the bike that you are prioritizing quality over quantity. Make sure the sessions have a purpose, you're doing with purpose, and you know your why you're doing all this, why you're spending all this time training off the bike, why you're spending all this time driving to races, all this time racing. It's going to help keep you in the right mindset and help you be able to finish the race year stronger. Because, like I said, we're only halfway there for most of us. So, what's the takeaway here? Mid-season is an important time to focus on the priority of, mid-season is the perfect opportunity to pivot, not start over, but just tune everything up. If everything's working great, keep going. If everything's not working great, take a good hard look at it, make some adjustments. It'll help you ensure that we have a strong race season. Now, in the next episode, we're going to talk about mental toughness because we want to stay sharp and resilient, and we want to make sure that we're sharp and resilient even when things aren't going our way. So that's it for me this week. Next week, like I said, we've got that mental toughness. And as always, if you want to try Mosto Fitness, send me a message on Instagram at Mosto Fitness, and I can hook you up with a free week of the single jump training program. All I need is your email address. So see you guys next time.